What's up, people? Welcome to episode 51 of Stack Sats or Die Trying. This is the Bitcoin Only Show brought to you by the Black Wealth Rebels and by the Hood. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy. That's right. This is episode 51. This is the Dick Butkus episode. It's a wild name. Pause. Dick Butkus episode. Who wore 51 in the league? Boban. Shout out to Boban. You know what I'm saying? He's played for the Sixers too. Shout out to Boban. It's the Boban and Dick Butkus episode of Stack Sats or Die Trying. I didn't think I was going to make a video this week because I got so much going on. For those that were there, I want to say thank you. Really appreciate you guys pulling up on Saturday at our event. We had our cash mob and our pod class, which was amazing. You guys will get a chance to check out the pod class because it was recorded in the future to be on the Black Wealth Rebels YouTube channel. By the way, if you're watching this on the By the Hood YouTube channel, go subscribe to our other channel, which is Black Wealth Rebels. If you're watching this in the, the village, the Patreon, salute to you because you guys get this content early. But this is our Bitcoin Only Show. We come here to talk about Bitcoin. And like I said, I got so much going on. Sunday, we had our event for the youth, which was just amazing. Thank you to all of my folks from the village and family that showed up to speak to the youth. Kamari was there. Corey was there. Courtney was there. Rachel was there. A. Lee was there. Jamisa was there. We had so many people that pulled up. Joel from that you've seen on our podcast before from our investment club, he was there. So came and poured into the youth and, talked about finance and the like and careers and things like that. So that was dope as well. This Wednesday, I'll be speaking to the Barristers Association. That's the attorneys here in the city of Philadelphia. So I just got back from Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to everybody in Ohio. That was an amazing trip. And that's what prompted me to actually make this video. Because like I said, I had so much going on that I didn't think I would find time. But I said, let me make a short pod this week. I want to make sure, I'm getting the word out there because this is a Bitcoin only show. I think the show is important. And, having conversations with people that watch my show are important. Just to, further talk about Bitcoin because there's a lot of FUD out there. There's a lot of nonsense out there, man. And I was recently watching a video of a professor. I think she's at GW. I'm not sure exactly where she works, but she's writing a book. It's kind of an anti-fintech book. But she was talking about Bitcoin and how it has no value. And, a lot of the things that have been proven not to be true. And I realized that she hasn't went down the rabbit hole. But it just prompted me to, make this video saying a couple things because at this conference, and by the way, the conference I went to was a Valuation Technologies conference. So it's a tech conference and people are sharing their work and talking about the different things that they're doing in the real estate space as it pertains to valuation and using technology. So it's a Valuation Technologies conference. And what I find interesting is I was looking at some of the work that's being done all across the world, and it just reinforced what I already knew, which is that technology just moves forward, doesn't care what you think, and people are trying things and doing things in the space of coding, in the space of AI, in the space of machine learning, in the space of gradient boosting models. In the space of using geospatial variables to determine things. And it's just like technology is moving forward as it pertains to Bitcoin, as it pertains to a lot of things. So when I hear people say that, we shouldn't be buying Bitcoin, first off, who is we? You know what I'm saying? Like,
who is we? Who is we?
Who is we? It kind of like makes me just take a step back and say, look, I understand why you would be skeptical, but we have to look at the current system that's there. We have to look at what the technology is allowing us to do. And when people say that Bitcoin is not really a revolution because early adopters have a majority of the Bitcoin, what they don't understand is they've never ran a miner. They've never ran a node to understand that you can literally validate your own transactions. And it doesn't matter how many people have what, right? That's something that kind of has to be understood is big B versus little b, right? Bitcoin the currency, Bitcoin the network. If you cannot grasp that part, you will have a difficult time, I shall say, understanding the value proposition of Bitcoin. When you go down a rabbit hole, when you study big B versus little b, and you have a full understanding of that, it kind of brings things into focus and you see how this can be valuable. So when people tell me that Bitcoin can't be used as money, it actually makes me laugh as well, because again, I live on a Bitcoin standard. So that's kind of weird to me. Now, the other part about this is that going back to the original conversation about technology and how technology is always moving forward. I think that is an important piece because I remember when the internet came out, right? And I remember like people looking at the internet and thinking that the internet was an actual fad. I know that sounds crazy now, but people believe that the internet was an actual fad. I remember that. I'm old enough to remember that. You know, I'm kind of aging myself right there. What the hell am I talking about? Like, you know, but I do remember when people thought the internet was a fad. And now the same people that thought the internet were a fad communicate on the internet. I remember having elders in my family tell me that I was crazy to be on social media using Facebook back in, 2006 or whatever it was. Like, you're crazy sharing that. Now, I don't even use social as much as I used to, but when I go on there, all of my elders, they use it more than I do. They on there cutting up and sharing memes and jokes and stuff. Like, I vividly remember my mom telling me, like, you're crazy to be on there. And rest in peace to my mom. But I remember, before she passed away, in 2020, like, she was on Facebook heavy every day. I would like see her and she'd be like, did you see what such and such posted? I'm like, yo, what was? So the fact is, technology continuously moves. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care that you have a dated perspective. And that's the thing that's kind of troublesome for me, because as I go to these conferences and I see the work that's being done in the field and these things are being applied, this isn't just academia. The thing about academia, which is interesting to me, is people like to pontificate and talk about things, but most of them are not practitioners. I build with practitioners, people that are writing code for financial institutions, right? People that are writing code for huge government entities. And I see things that are already being put in practice. And when I see that, it makes me take a look at, myself and my community and say, are we prepared? Are we prepared for where we're going from a technological standpoint? Do we have the understanding to move into spaces where the jobs will be? Whether that's AI. I know AI is a huge buzzword, and a lot of things that people call AI are not AI. But what I can say is it's already affected the economy, but it's going to affect pretty much everything, every part of the world, because technology tends to affect everything. Technology affects the law, right? It affects healthcare. Technology affects education. Technology affects real estate. Technology affects finance. So Bitcoin is a microcosm of some of the things that I'm talking about, but I think it's a bigger conversation. And I wanted to bring it to Stack Sats or Die Trying because, a lot of people that watch this show have kids. And what I want to say is we need to be preparing for the future. We need to be stacking sats, right, to prepare, for the future. But we also need to be preparing for the future in terms of getting into the tech side of Bitcoin, right? I came back from this conference rejuvenated, and I'm already in a couple classes myself. So, being transparent about what I do. So I work in data science, but I use a lot of SPSS, which is an IBM product. And I use that to do a lot of my statistical analysis. But coming from this conference and watching what's happening, and I know how to do a little bit of Python. I actually signed up for multiple Python courses because I want to get more proficient and get better at like writing Python code. And I know a little bit of SQL, but I want to sharpen on these tools that I have a little bit of experience with, because I don't want to be left behind. One of the things that I pride myself on is being a lifelong learner and also being open-minded. And when I see things that are being put into practice, and then I see the people with the FUD who people who are anti-fintech, they're anti-Bitcoin, they're anti-AI, they're anti-everything. But what they don't understand is their feelings don't matter, because this thing is going to move forward. So I just want to put the message out to be prepared. Like, I have youngsters in my family, and I'm talking to them now. Like, look, I'm already speaking to you about money, how money works, how to save money, how to make money, how to invest. Now, I want you to step your skills up. Everybody should learn coding. Everybody should understand blockchain technology, right? And I'm not talking about the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hell no. When I say blockchain, I'm talking about Bitcoin. I'm not talking about the other stuff. Nope, not doing it.
Hell no, no.
I just want us to really become learners, right? I talk about every episode that I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go do your own research. I'm just giving you some things to research, right? And the reason why I think it's important is because we've gotten away from developing our own thoughts, like being thinkers. Sometimes people go on the internet and look for people to give them a feeling. So, and people for people to tell them how to feel about specific topics. I'll tell you how I feel, but I want you to go do further research. Don't even take my word for it. But the fact is, when it comes to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is an entire industry at this point, right? I was going to do a whole episode on a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which was signed, into law recently by the government. But the fact of the matter is, I know a lot of people were excited about it. Didn't matter to me one way or the other, because I understand the value proposition and I don't need the government to back it for it to mean anything. But I know some people feel like that was a big thing, and that's fine. That's okay. But when you see BlackRock get into the space, when you see the US government get into the space, when you see Fidelity get into the space, when you see billionaires buy it, at some point you have to understand that it's not going away, right? Bitcoin is yet to be hacked. Bitcoin has been around. It's been up 24/7, 365 for over a decade at this point. And it's like, at some point, I don't know when it kicks in for people, because people are still scared and people still feel like it's a speculative thing. Again, I always say Bitcoin isn't an investment. It's a savings technology. But again, I want you guys to do your research. I've given you several books. And if this is your first time watching this show, go back. This is episode 51. This is the Dick Buckus episode.
Pause. In Jesus' name.
Boban episode. We have 50 previous episodes where I talk about Bitcoin from a lot of different angles. And I'll continue to create this because to me, this is, an important show for the reason that I do not want our folks to get left behind. I'm going to give you the perspectives, a little bit of education. Of course, I have fun on here. You know what I'm saying? But this is my thing to talk about Bitcoin. Right. And it's kind of technology, too, because I remember even being in real estate 20 years ago when people would say, you don't want to buy the land. You don't want to do these things because, being a landlord is terrible. Blah, blah, blah. All different bad things about real estate. And then the folks that I know that got into the space are now millionaires, and folks that stayed away from it, are still, scratching and surviving. But, everything is going to move forward, but we have to be prepared. So I guess the message for this episode is be prepared for the future. Be prepared for the changes in AI. Be prepared to have something other than the US dollar to be a currency or a savings technology. Be prepared for fintech in general in terms of how that's changing. What does a bank look like moving forward? Is a bank still the huge Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Chase structures, or is a bank something that's literally an application on your phone? What does it mean to be a bank moving forward? How does education change, right? The face of education has changed. It's no longer just everyone getting up, going to schools. We have a lot of homeschools. We have online. Everything is changing. And what I came back like rejuvenated in terms of stepping up my education, but also just spreading awareness that we all need to be really paying attention to what's going on. There's a lot of changes going on politically, right? I don't get into politics on here because for me, I'm about building institutions and building things and, just focusing on what matters to me. I understand that, there's a lot going on and there are people that they're fighting that fight. But for me, it's about building. It's the reason why I belong to the investment club, ibbig.net, if you want to check that out. It's the reason why we've created the village, the Black Wealth Rebels. Go to blackwealthrebels.com and check that out. It's the reason why we created our camp. It's the reason why I serve on the board of Inspiring Minds Philadelphia. I do all these things because I'm about building institutions that can then create value to impact the people, right? So, that's all I have today. It's Bitcoin, but it's kind of like, quasi Bitcoin. It's more of just a conversation I want to have around technology moving forward, and us really paying attention to what's going on and being prepared and make sure that we are preparing the next generation, right? So AI is here, right? Bitcoin is here. Even the way we communicate has changed, right? I'm creating this podcast, which will be audio, it'll be video. I'll get feedback from it. I get feedback from every podcast. People will have, will hear it on one platform or another, whether that's on the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. They'll listen to the podcast in their car, but everything is changing. And I just want to make sure that we can participate in this new economy and continue to prosper, right? Everything has its ebbs and flows. The market has been crushed lately, and that's fine because this is where people actually get rich. We've seen this before. The thing about like growing older and being around for so many cycles is like the idea of fear and everything is just crazy to me because I've seen this happen so many times. You know what I mean? Like when you see it happen so many times, it's just like, okay, so, today is Tuesday or whatever. It's like, it is what it is. But, I ain't saying I'm better than you, ho. It is what it is. My Larry June voice. By the way, I'm still rocking a Larry June and 2 Chainz album. That's my favorite album of 2025. That has nothing to do with this show, but I thought I'd put that out there. You know what I mean? Shout out to Larry June and 2 Chainz. And Alchemist too. Alchemist is fire. Anyway, I digress. Thank you again for those that showed up for our event. We have another event that's already scheduled, is already on the books. It's June 14th, 2025. It's at Coffee, Creams, and Dreams at 15th and Fairmount. Also, April 5th, we have our Saturday class, By the Hood Camp, which generally happens every year, for 10 straight. We've been doing our camp in the summer, but now we're going to every month. We're going to have an in-person class where we provide mentorship. We provide training in terms of technology, not just finance. We got folks coming in to teach coding and technology. Like I said, I want to do my part to build institutions and make sure we are prepared. So I'm bringing in the specialists into the hood to teach the folks about coding, about technology, about not just software, but hardware, the entire nine. And we're going to give them personal finance classes. We're going to have someone come in and talk about health. So we're making this once a month Saturday school a thing. For more information, though, just hit us up, blackwealthrebels@gmail.com, because we're going to, get back into the community and do more and more and more work, continuously build institutions, continuously organize and work together to create the world that we want. You know what I mean? Some folks sit around and complain and some folks take action. We're taking action, and I hope you guys can join us by, coming along with through the journey, build with us. Let's continuously build. Go to blackwealthrebels.com to join our village. You can get in for free. We do have paid tiers. Anybody in the paid tier, we definitely appreciate it. You actually get a little bit more content, a little bit more education, and more access to us, and you'll continuously do so. But we appreciate anyone who's helping us build, because at the end of the day gonna end. But what happens in between there, man, is up to us to make the world that we want to see. But don't be afraid of Bitcoin. Don't be afraid of technology, because you'll do nothing but hurt yourself in the long run. We're going to look up 10, 15, 20 years from now, and there'll be people in living different lives. And the fact of the matter is, those that embrace what's going on and learn to navigate those spaces will be the ones that succeed, man. I got nothing else more for you, man. But, I'm still out here stacking my sats. Bitcoin class coming in the next couple weeks. I'll put more information out about that on the community tab if this is on YouTube. Also, you'll see it in the Patreon if you're a member of the village. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Do all the YouTubing and stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. And, check me out again next week. Also, Wealthy Wednesdays, show on Wednesday. Freedom Friday, show on Friday. Next Sunday, we'll be back for our Sunday Finance Church. It's the Black Wealth Rebels. This is Stack Sats to Die Trying. I'm Jimmy again. And as I always say before I get out of here, stack sats or die trying. Peace.